let me introduce Anne and we'll make a start. So on camera, you can see Anne Botting, who is going to be our presenter today, and we'll introduce Anne in a moment. Just to give you a couple of housekeeping things. So Anne's going to talk for probably up to 30 minutes, depending on how fast she talks. But please ask questions along the way, because some of this stuff, there are a lot of preconceived ideas, or there are myths out there, which Anne's going to try and bust a few of the myths. But if you want some clarification, so if she says something and you go, no, that can't be right, then just check for clarification, because if you're thinking it, so will be, other people will be as well. And she's going to talk through this process and explain it. So fire your questions in as you go. I will read them out to Anne, and so that she can answer them along the way. If there's anything that we don't get answered along the way, we'll make sure that Anne answers them at the end. So you'll stay on until the questions are answered, right? Or until lunchtime, whichever comes first. So just to introduce you to Anne. So Anne is the owner of Global Training Institute, and she's just going to take a few moments to talk about the college and what they do, and then she's going to go straight into the what's in this for you and why are you here kind of situation. Yeah. So tell us about the college, Anne.
Okay, so Global Training Institute, owned by my husband Shane and I. We developed it way back in 2005 and 4. So we've actually been around as a registered training organisation, like a private TAFE college, for the last 16 years. So yeah, we're feeling a bit old. We've been here and done and everything extra. So we have thousands of students that study online with us, and online with us means that they're over the phone. They're all mature age, generally mature age, so they're all mostly over 30 up until 65 sort of thing, all got families, real lives, and yeah, are great students. So they're all advancing their careers and making progressions, and all their assessments are done based on work-based scenarios and real projects. So we don't do any sort of silly little activities in books and things like that. So yeah, and we've been doing that model for the last sort of 16 years.
So you didn't just suddenly start doing this when COVID hit or anything?
No. So all of our trainers, yeah, everybody is chatting over the phone, and so we get great feedback forms in all of the time. I have the privilege as the owner of the college going through these each week of students that are finished, and reading all their great feedback and the difference that training with us has made to their lives personally and to their career paths and to their employers' businesses as well. So yeah, that's always a real privilege. We've stuck at the business for a long time because we really are passionate about our students and the difference that it does make to them.
Right, actually, I should have said, does somebody mind just popping something in the chat to say that you can definitely hear us? We'll work on the assumption that you can, unless we hear otherwise, but that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks,
Susan. Yeah. Okay, so you just mentioned, I know we're not wanting to say that word, but just the COVID thing, we just kind of need to acknowledge that a lot of people are probably not feeling great right now. So do you want to talk about why we're doing this in the middle of all of that?
Yeah, okay. I'm a fellow business owner, and so is Melanie. We both employ people. Does COVID affected us? Absolutely. We've both been in lockdown equally as well, and we've got staff, and we understand the anxiety for team members. We understand the issues of what's happening with incomes and everything extra. So we really do feel for you. We do actually understand. I can totally relate. Should have seen us last week on Monday with lots of team issues and everything as well. So, but I've actually got a really good news story for you, and that's what we want to share. And if you sit and listen to the news all the time, it will only bring you gloom and no things. But outside outside of that, there is some really great stuff happening, and that's what we want to bring you today, is to share the possibilities for you in your business, and the different things that are available.
And these wage subsidy opportunities that you're going to talk about are nothing to do with this current COVID stimulus that everyone's struggling to get, is it? No. On top of that?
Yeah, so it's nothing to do with old job keepers, new job keepers, whatever grants are around that are available for you in your state, because they're all very different. Nothing to do with any of that. Federal government resourcing of it. So yeah, so we can move on and share.
Let's talk about what it is.
Yeah.
And the name is a misnomer, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So just call it the BAC program, because its official long name was Boosting Apprenticeship Commencements. It doesn't have anything to do with apprenticeships. It's got nothing to do with commencements, but it does boost stuff. So that's about a good thing. So as an employer, employers get to receive a 50% wage rebate back from the federal government, up to $28,000 per employee who participate in a professional development course with us. So basically what it has is businesses and councils are able to claim and rebate up to half people's wages. Now they can be new employees, or they can also be some of your existing employees if you're eligible for those.
Now, people who have heard of this scheme already have been saying to me, oh, but that's just for trainees and like young people and junior people and things. Do you want to just clarify that bit up front?
Yeah, so no, it's not. You can have qualifications, you can have experience. Yeah, you can, yeah, it's for everybody. So yes, if you've got some young people you want to put on, yeah, great, because our youth really need a boost at the moment. And so, yeah, I do encourage you to put youth on. But if you've got older people and mature age people, definitely, yeah, we've been putting on heaps, and I'll explain why this is a really good project to be growing your business at the moment.
And they don't have to have been like unemployed or anything?
No, you can headhunt, you can grab, you can, yeah, some of your existing as well. And Melanie's a business owner as well and has been accessing this scheme for her people, and she's put on some young and she's put on some more mature.
Yeah, let's be careful how we say that. I keep referring to one of my employees and saying, look, she's over 60 and she's on a traineeship, but apparently I'm not allowed to tell people that anymore. Sorry, Rachel.
Yeah, we definitely have as well, I'm sure. Well, the lady that our newest one is looking at coming on is definitely a grandma.
Yeah, so it's not age related. So give us a bit of background as to what this is about. And this is where, if you've got questions, guys, ask them, because people go, oh no, I've heard of that and I thought it was.
Yeah, so you may have heard about it in the budget 12 months ago. So end of last year, the government released a wage subsidy with 100,000 training places to come straight out. It got consumed, and it was for new workers and existing workers. So they put out the $2.8 billion into the program last year, and it got very, very quickly snaffled up. And so they tightened the in October for the existing workers. So I know we as a business, we got some on, and then we hit that deadline and missed out on 2 of our existing team members. We got caught right in the changeover.
It took a while for everybody to cotton on that you mean you can put every single one of your employees.
Yeah.
And then of course they closed that because, you know. Yeah,
so we've still been, growing and putting on new team members. They've been definitely coming on all of these programs. Okay, so by May they'd used up a lot. But in this budget, they've actually allocated another $2.7 billion to this whole program. Now that is my mind of sort of things. So my mind isn't this, but I sort of look at my business and go, great, if it is good for my business to bring on extra people, it helps them out, but also I know that I can bring them on and get up to a wage subsidy of $28,000 for them. So yeah, it's good for that. So the government in this things, the program was to finish in October, but it's now going through to the May to the end of March.
But the wage subsidy doesn't finish.
No, so it means that you can be either putting people on until the last day in March. Now, please don't. I prefer the beginning of March to the end of March. But yeah, you've got until March, and then your 12 months wage subsidy and training will kick in from there.
Right, so you can sign people up till the end of March.
Sign people up until the end of March. So definitely I would be looking at doing what you can now. But keep in mind that as you bring on new employees over the next 8-9 months.
So you'll explain the criteria for what's a new employee, because you can backdate this 3 months, can't you? People who started in the last 3 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
we've got a couple of questions about what courses can be offered and stuff, but you're going to cover that.
Yeah, yep. I've got our courses down there for you. Yes, so no, it will be great. We'll keep moving. Okay, so is it official? Yes. So this just shows you that, that's all those government logo-y thingies. That means that it's an official program.
Okay, so why is everybody doing this?
Okay, it's a win for everybody. It's a win for the government, it's a win for employers, and it's definitely a win for the employees that participate. So
what's in it for the government? It's a lot of money to spend.
It is, but we've seen through COVID that we need to be upskilling our own nation. We need to be having everything handled in-house. We need to be really in control of what we're doing, because we've realised that reliance on overseas just isn't going to work. Because believe me, in my house, I've got a COVID push bike. My limited choice was this. I've got COVID washing machines and a dryer. So really think so. It allows us to boost the employment here at the moment. So the government has brought it on for employers like myself and Melanie to look at, can you look at bringing on an extra person? And if we subsidise their wages for 12 months, can you actually do it? And so yes, we can. So it upskills our employees, which helps for our nation for being able to do things in-house.
And you just touched on what it does for the business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the business, you will save, half your wages bill for any of your new employees and potentially some of your existing.
Can you say that again a bit more slowly?
Okay, you're going to save half your wages bill for any new employees and for some of your existing employees.
And you're going to explain in a moment which existing and which new and how that works. Now, somebody's just asked, are we going to send them a copy or should they be taking notes? We can send out a copy of it.
Yeah, you'll get a copy of the video. We are recording it. So happy for you to sit and watch me again. And we've also got a kit for you at the end of the presentation as well. And then we also have account managers here that will help you walk through this whole process.
Because it is a little bit complicated, but it's not when you know how.
Yeah, we've got this checklist. So follow the checklist and you'll get your people approved and all through.
Okay, so why would employers be bothered? I mean, obviously half the wages back up to 7,000 a quarter is not to be sneezed at.
No, but when you put your people on, it actually provides them with enthusiasm and buys into you and your business. They will be in, because their assessments are not little silly things, activities in books. They're actually doing workplace projects. They're going to be reviewing all of the employers' policies, procedures, systems, improving things along the way. They will understand how the business works a lot better. Yeah, there's so many advantages of being able to upskill, and a lot of the topics that they'll be doing in their courses with this are all of the latest sort of technology topics, the latest communication. It's all of those new skills that they need.
Mental health stuff in there.
A lot of mental health stuff in there. It's a lot of stuff for post 2020. And we just get feedback every week of how personally people have grown, developed. It's their security as well. A lot of people have really found that training at the moment is, every week you're going to be talking to your trainer. You've got something else to do to focus on other than whatever else is happening out there. It's something positive to focus on. There is just so many advantages.
So from the employee's point of view, because to get this wage subsidy, your employee has to be willing to do a course.
Oh, right? Yeah.
So why would they?
So because of all of those things, the positive mental health, the security, it allows them to think about that if you've got them and the employer's got them on a wage things, they're going to be less likely to put off as well.
So it's not last on, first off.
Not last on, first off. They're going to be gaining those qualifications. It's good for their career because our courses run from certificate 4, diplomas, advanced diplomas, and then they can skip up to 3 years of uni and do MBAs if they want to. So you can really as an employer, career progress with your people in the organisation, and they themselves can really advance their career.
And I imagine if you're an employer right now and you're trying to attract new talent, then hiring somebody and attracting them away from their current job might be a bit difficult because people are uncertain. So bringing them in and saying, you can do this qualification and we're going to get a wage subsidy for you might actually make them feel more secure about coming to join.
Yeah, absolutely. But people are they do really like to upskill, and because the stats everywhere show that employers that offer professional development for their staff is a real win.
Right. And people have been doing this for years and paying for it, and now they're going to get paid for it.
Yeah.
So who can do this?
Okay, so businesses. So we do have a quiz. I will let you know that we've got a quiz built and you can keep running its people through and the different scenarios. It's an eligibility quiz to see if your business is eligible, you as an owner may be eligible, if you are or you aren't, which are your employees, and you can keep doing the quiz over and over for the different scenarios.
Okay, so we can give people a link to that.
Yeah, we'll give everyone a link to the quiz, Okay, so businesses, organisations and local councils from all states, all industries are eligible. Any employer, any size, any industry, any location. So Australian citizens and Kiwis that have been here for more than 6 months, and those with PR are all eligible. So the only ones that aren't eligible is the state and federal government, organisations and departments. So basically everybody else is good to go. So it's not just for your new or your junior staff, it is for professionals and experienced staff as well.
Okay, so I know you did this little calculation because you wanted to show people their financial benefits, but there are also some additional incentives. Do you want to just talk about that?
Yeah, so employers, will get, so if you put on one person, you're going to save between $20 to 22 grand sort of thing. Or if you're in New South Wales and you're putting on new staff, it's totally free. So you'll keep the whole 28,000. Thank you, New South Wales government.
And so you keep the 28 plus there's other incentives.
You've got payroll tax rebates. There's work cover. There's some of the states, so depending where you are, will give you an incentive to putting somebody on or finishing it.
Like an extra 4,000 or so.
Yeah, especially if you're doing the certificate 4 levels of courses mostly. But yeah, just talk to us on different things and talk to the people along the process. But yeah, if you blanketly say, hi, I'm going to keep on get rebated up to 20,000, 28,000, somewhere in there.
Well, and I've got one employee who I'm getting the 28,000 for her. The course is free because she's under 25. I'm getting, Queensland government is giving me another 20,000.
Whoa.
There's all kinds of incentives, so we can kind of help point you in the direction of where to go and find the rest of them as well.
Yeah, so we've got, as part of our checklist, we've got a sheet there that can show you. So on this webinar, it's very generic because I've got people from each of the states, but we've got that all listed in the things for each state, where to go to check out what you can access and things like that. So yeah, if you've got 5, we do, yeah, so it's for small companies that put on 1 person, very happy to be working with you if you've got 1 person. If you've got 2 or 3, more than happy, yeah. And if you are a multinational company around the state, the country,
and you've got 100, we'll still do it.
yeah, and we've got things like we're working with, definitely people that have got multi-state businesses, and we're really helping them through a streamlined process, so it's not a big nightmare for them.
Right. Now, Catherine just picked on something that you just touched on that I know you're going to explain more in a moment, but she just said, sorry, did you say the courses are free in New South Wales?
Yeah, for new workers in New South Wales, yes, totally free, and thank you, New South Wales government. So
and you're going to explain that more in a moment.
Yeah, employers don't pay anything for anyone that's new.
Right. So tell us about a few of the statistics, because I slipped this slide in because I like statistics.
All right, so these are some of the statistics on the back program so far. 20% of the claims so far are employees over 35. So don't think of it as being just those young people. Great. If young people are good for your business, I've got a heap of them because they're really techie savvy. So I make sure I have lots of young people in my organisation so that they don't all look like me, because I run and ask them for help all the time. But yeah, over 35-year-olds, definitely you can bring in. Yeah, and we've got love working with those people. That's what our business is based on. 40% have been in small businesses. Does 60% not in the traditional trade? So
although it's called Boosting Apprenticeships,
it's not
just apprentices. Most aren't apprentices.
Most aren't apprentices. Yeah, and New South Wales, if you are in New South Wales, I think Catherine, you said it was, then yeah, you're running behind. So hurry up and catch up. Okay, so fastest intakes, constructions, accommodation, manufacturing. We're working with all sorts of business from, it's definitely got manufacturers. We've definitely got professional services companies we're working with, councils, construction companies, but yeah, all sorts of real estate agents. We've got all sorts of businesses we're working with here. Yeah. Okay, there are lots of skills shortages out there at the moment. This may be definitely a way that you can get people applying and working with your company. Yeah, and then you can really upskill them.
And if you have to pay them a bit more, this kind of contributes to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the new employee courses. So we'll start with that because there are a lot more courses that new employees can do. The existing employees thing is a bit narrow. So first of all, what is a new employee? Okay, so a new employee is anyone that's been with you for under the last 90 days. So think back 3 months ago, anyone you've put on since then, they are a new employee, and quickly, talk to us and get them registered. Now, those people, also there's an opportunity in most of the states from people that you're bringing up from casual into part-time, or part-timers turning into full-time. And we've got quite a few people moving their people up, because with the with the half wage subsidy, that makes it very viable for them to do that. If you are in New South Wales, that will only work in the last 12 if they've been with you less than 12 months. But again, each of those things are listed in our little checklist, so don't panic over them now. And if someone's got a specific scenario, just talk to us. And we'll tell you
we'll talk to work through. So within the courses, so on your certificate 4 line, we've got all of business, project management, workplace health and safety. All of those courses there are great for all sorts of people in new employees, anyone in your management, even up to some of your senior managers. Now, your CEO is probably not going to be eligible or your business owner.
It's still funded under the traineeship scheme, so you're still going to have someone supervising.
Yes, yeah. But diploma of leadership management, businesses and leadership management are available in every state. Yeah, and which are just great projects. And then project management as well. You're working on your own projects, you're working on your own team development. All of those things have got skills in it that are needed for now and will suit all different levels through. So if you've got leading hands and supervisors, they'll come through and you Cert 4 leadership management, but all of your management team, bring them through with your diplomas.
So some of these courses are not available in all states, is that right?
Yeah, so we've got local governments only available in a couple of states. HR, I think there's 2 states that it's not available in, but yeah, generally speaking,
most of them are most states.
Most of them are most states. That's why I've listed these particular ones here for you.
Okay, so let's answer this question about the fees and the free and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we'll come back to that. Existing employees, that is a little bit trickier. Do you want to just talk about how that works? Okay,
so the existing employees, when the government closed, well, not closed, but reduced last year, they brought out a very tiny little list of people that they would still improve for existing employees.
So they'll still fund wage subsidies. And by existing employees, that's someone who's been full-time with you for more than 3 months.
Or part-time with you for more than those 3 months.
More than a year or whatever.
Yeah, so part-time, think about being 15 hours a week more, plus 15 hours. Yeah. Okay, so on this tiny little list, our company has got 3 qualifications that are on there. So the government is really pushing still for workplace health and safety. So if you've got anyone working in a workplace health and safety role that has not got their Cert 4 in WHS, now they can have a uni degree in WHS and don't have their Cert 4. So as long as they don't have specifically their Cert 4, they're going to be eligible. And every organisation, you can definitely be trying for WHS at the moment, making a role for it and things, because when we think of,
we're kind of in a health and safety crisis right now.
Yeah, and we really look at in the health part of it in that course as well, but in the safety, every time you've got somebody sitting at work at home, then that's another workplace that we were responsible for as employers. So this whole scenario,
most organisations, even the smaller ones, should be able to get one person through on the safety one.
Yes,
but they do have to actually be genuinely doing safety related duties
and inspections and things. But but every business should have somebody.
Yeah, you should have someone doing that.
If you've got more than 5 or 10 employees at the moment, you should have somebody doing that, because I would not like to think what's going to happen in the future out of this whole scenario. So
so that's in all states, and that's for all workers, new, existing. They can have been with you for 20 years, doesn't matter.
No, can have formal qualifications or not. So the other one that's really interesting in that slightly line is the environmental management sustainability. If you've got anybody in your organisation that's already got the WHS or is doing anything with environmental management, because all of the roles now are needed to be WHSE for environmental.
So it's a combination of the 2.
It's a combination of the 2, and the environmental management qualification is actually going to be finishing in bit over 12 months time, and there isn't anything coming through with the E for the environmental. So a lot of your people may be very keen to grab that one, but
that's
you've got
only in 2 states, right?
Yes, that's only for Western Australia and New South Wales, because the others have already sort of taken off their list. But for those ones, very interesting, very keen.
And so one of the jobs that's allowed to do this course and get a wage subsidy, again for existing employees, is if you've got an office manager who's got safety responsibilities, but not necessarily full-time safety officer, but they can add this environmental course on. So that's
we've got, and a lot of the HR people have actually got HR and WHS.
So they can add this on.
They could potentially add this on as well. Okay. Very interesting course. The other one is, of course, if you are in civil construction, for all of your leading hand supervisors, project managers, foremen out on site, who are implementing environmental quality safety risk management sort of systems, and supervising what's happening on the site, they get their Cert 4 civil supervision. So anyone that hasn't already got that, grab that one now and put it on. We've got specialist trainers, and the people there just love working with all of their trainers.
Okay, so we have a question. How long does someone need to be working with you before you can enroll them in a course?
Okay, so working with you, if they're new, if they've been with you under 90 days,
then you've got a much bigger range.
You've got those whole range. If they've been with you longer than 90 days, with our organisation, you're limited to these 3.
And there are a bunch of other courses on that Appendix I out there that we don't have, but they tend to be like tradie type courses. Yeah,
so there is a couple of other courses. Pet grooming. So if you've got somebody that's involved in pet grooming,
then you can get a subsidy for an existing person.
Absolutely. Now, this one's really cool. If you actually have got, cyber security, and you've got somebody that can train someone and you're in that field, the government is really going to help to push for cyber security. So there is some actually really interesting ones in there.
So we don't have those. Other ITOs would.
Somebody else may have. And for our rural people, there is shearing and wool clipping.
Right.
So there is a couple of other courses out there that the government have sort of really still recognised and said, hi, as a nation, we need cybersecurity.
So if there is someone who has existing employees, but they're not eligible for the 3 courses that we've got, are you okay to send them a copy of that?
Yeah, I will.
And
see, and if pet grooming is your
thing,
and if you can help our nation out with cybersecurity or our farmers with wool shearing, then yeah, more than happy.
And actually, someone else asked the question: can any RTO deliver this training?
Okay.
There's a limited number that are approved.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be approved for traineeships and like for the New South Wales free courses.
So you've got to have and you've got to have the contracts that we've got with the New South Wales government.
So, but there are other RTOs that do other courses like pet grooming and things like that.
Yes.
So we're certainly not the only one. We're just one of the better ones.
Yes, I personally don't know the other ones at all. I only know very couple other RTOs out there.
But if you've got existing employees who don't fall into these 3 categories, and you've got some new workers, talk to us. We can get you new workers signed up, and then we can give you the list of where else to go for the existing workers.
More than happy to help. Yes.
Okay, so talk to us about the existing worker thing again.
Okay, so existing workers. So out there in the marketplace, you will hear that it doesn't exist as a story and everything extra. Let me assure you it does. So my people are on, Melanie's got some people on. These are forms that we get through for approvals, of people, business owners that are putting their new people through. So, and these are for existing workers as well as some new ones. So I've got some here that have come in this week for an existing worker for environmental management sustainability. I've got a new worker for a diploma of business. I've got a new worker for a Cert 4 in project management practice that's coming this week. I've got another existing for environmental management. I've had a bunch of civil ones come in, some WHS ones come in. That's this week alone from other employers. So what happens is when you get them signed up, you as the RTO, we get a little letter saying, hi, will you take a person as a training?
And that's the approval. Once that comes through, they're approved and they're done. And you're going to talk, I know, before we finish, about the fact that we can de-risk this for people, that they don't have to pay us money or anything until this is all approved and done.
Absolutely.
If they have to pay it all.
Yes, if you have to pay it all. So the existing workers, yes, you do. So you pay us as the training provider for their course.
But not until you're approved.
But not until you're approved, and we've got risk-free guarantees and all the rest of it.
So we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so how much does it cost?
Okay, so again, that depends as to the state that you're in and which course. So typically, though, between $5,000 and $7,000. So if you are in New South Wales and you're bringing on new employees, for those that have been with you under 90 months, they are totally free. So you don't pay me anything because I've got a contract with the New South Wales government, and the New South Wales government have said, that they would love to pay for your course. Totally free for your people.
So this is not a loan, this is free.
Free, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you pay me $0 as your student. As the student in New South Wales completes different units, the government pays me some money. So they don't pay me up front.
But this is not like this Vet Student Loans thing. No one has to pay anything back at the end of it.
No. There's no payment back or anything extra.
It's free. Okay.
Yeah. And if you're in Queensland and you've got people that live and may work in New South Wales but live in Queensland and are in the construction industry, again, we say thank you very much to CSQ. It's one of their pens here, because they will subsidise the courses there. And I just got more dollars through from CSQ this morning, so that was really exciting. I'm going to be able to ring some employers this afternoon and say, and give them some great news.
So worst case scenario, if it's not a funded or subsidised course and they have to pay the full fees, you're still going to keep $20,000 per employee over the 12 months after you've paid anything.
Plus those extra incentives that we were talking about for the payroll taxes and things like that, if that affects your business. So.
Right, someone's had a really good idea and a good question, and I think we need to separate the answer into wage subsidy versus course subsidy. As an office manager, can I enroll in 2 courses and get a double subsidy? Okay,
so your wage subsidy is per person.
So you only get once, you can't get 2 halves of a wage subsidy.
No, I think,
But what about courses? If you're a new employee, can you get 2 free courses under the scheme? There's that discussion with one of the apprenticeship centres about starting on one and then rolling into another.
To another, yeah. You can definitely do the upgrade. You can start in a certificate 4 and then come through to a diploma.
Yeah.
But again, the apprenticeship mob would know more about that. But we do have definitely got that sort of things happening.
Or you could do a funded course if you're a new worker
and then
move to an existing worker course like health and safety. Yeah, so there's possibly ways, and talk to us and we can help try and figure it out.
And then I have other contracts with, especially if you're in New South Wales or by CSQ in Queensland, that you can definitely be doing subsidised courses as well. So
if you're over 45 or something.
Yeah, and I've got other different stuff as well.
So quite possibly, yes, but let's look at the specific situation.
Yeah, so our recommendation to employers first is, number one, let's just work through the process with only like 1 or 2 of your people first. Let's just get a win on the board to show that, yes, this does work.
Let's do the easy ones first.
Yeah, and come on in the train, and as soon as you've got you, and you go, oh, that was easy, right? And let's, because we really have simplified this, but we're not here to say, hi, I'm going to have to claim all of the people at once and everything. No, look, we're here. Let's just work through a couple. Anyone that you've got on new, let's just get those ones through, get them up and running and training.
Yeah, before their new 90 days.
Yeah, their new 90 days runs out, and then and still keep working with you. So we're building long-term relationships with these organisations and things, and you'll see how long some of our students and organisations have been with us as well. Yeah.
Okay, so the actual process though, once they've got the approval for the program, is it difficult to actually get the money out of the government?
No, it's actually really good. Okay, so basically, very quickly through the whole process. Number one, you identify people that are going to be eligible. You talk to us about them. So you pick your courses that are going to be things. You set up a meeting with the apprenticeship mob. Those meetings are... So
who's the apprenticeship mob? Where do they
They're called AASN. So the government needed very quickly to be able to put somebody through that already had contracts organised. So they've put them through apprenticeship centres. So people like, you may have heard of people like Busy at Work or MEGT or Serena Russo or Verto. Yeah.
So basically there are middlemen, if you like.
Middlemen that actually process this for the government. We're the training company, so we're a private TAFE college. There's the employer, the employee, and somebody has to process it all for the government, and they've picked those people to do that. So basically your employee will get registered with them either as a new worker trainee or an existing worker trainee, and then those people send us these little approval forms, and then at the end of the quarter, so at the meeting we have with them, there's a wage subsidy claim form that you fill out at that meeting or straight after it as the employer, and then they register it. And then what happens is at the end of each of your quarters, they send you a little reminder to say, hi. So we're going to talk about Fred. Fred's the person on the traineeship. So, hi, you've got to put your wage subsidy in for Fred. So what that means is you just get Fred's pay slips for the last 3 months, and you pop them up into wherever they want you to submit them to, and you might have to, depending on which state, you might have to put your training plan up as well. And then somebody in the government departments in the magical thing looks and goes, right, Fred's earned $1,000 this 3 months, and therefore they'll rebate you $500 back. So up to half of it, up to $7,000 a quarter.
So once it's approved, it's kind of like a JobKeeper claim in that you upload the pay slips and then you get reimbursed.
Yeah. And Melanie, as an employer, will know that, yes, she's had money back in her bank account. As I know from, my finance accounts department tells me that, yes, and we got money back in the bank account.
So the accounts department, that would be your husband.
Yes. He said, yeah, we got some money back in.
Actually, so just before we go on and talk about the training itself, we've got a few questions that we'll just get you to answer if you would. So where can I find a list of the courses that are offered? So we've shown that list. If you want us to send you a copy, just email us.
At the end of it, we'll give you an email address and we can send you a list. In the coordinators kit, we've got a list of all of the courses and the flyers that go with those.
Okay, so does the definition of a new employee include contract workers?
Okay, so contract workers, I think, will be a no, because they are actually in their own business.
Yes, if they're ABN contractors, no, because they need to be actually an employee.
Yeah.
But you may want to consider, if they're ongoing, you may want to consider turning them into an employee, because then they'd be a new worker, they'd be eligible for all those courses. If you're in New South Wales, the course would be free.
Yeah, so, and really, now I'm not wearing my IR hat at the moment, but really have a look at any of your contractors to
Are
make
they real
sure,
contractors?
are they real contractors? Because if they are providing that most of their employment to you, then they're not really,
one day you could get hit up for tax or annual leave or something.
Annual leave and everything for them that they weren't really, and the same as your casuals.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did learn in COVID is that I sat through a lot of IR meetings and sort of learned lots of different things about, are casuals really casual, or are they really permanent part-time, and are contractors really contractors?
Yes. So it may, certainly don't take the advice from us, but
no,
it may be worth
do not take my
getting some IR advice and actually going, if my contractors are working for me, let's turn them into employees and claim a subsidy.
And if you really need to know somebody who is a good IR company, I would give a shout out for EmploySure. We've got lots of their people that we've worked with, but also their people trained with us as well. Right. So if you need somebody and you haven't got anyone, then contact them and EmploySure and they'll give you help.
Okay, so here's a really good question, and it's one that we have had come up in various formats before. We're a small business. Would my husband and I be entitled to anything? We also have employees, but want to start with us first.
Okay, so it will depend as to the nature as to how you have structured your business.
Yeah.
Okay, so in
directors
the quiz,
are not eligible.
Yeah, so directors that are, if you're in the major decision making, generally not eligible. But in our quiz, we have got some scenarios, and again, I don't do the approvals. The apprenticeship mob will do the approvals at the end, so the MEGT, so you can run your particular scenario against with them as well.
Okay, so for Susan, if it's their own business but only one of them is the director and the major shareholder and things, then it's possible that the other one could get approved.
Yeah.
So directors, so basically if you're clearly the owner of the business, then generally those ones are getting rejected.
But you become the great supervisor.
Yeah, and then you put your employee on. So there would be someone hopefully in your business, Susan, that would get it. But again, go through the quiz, have a chat to us.
Yeah, and then confirm it with your apprenticeship centre before you have your meeting.
Okay, so here's a really, really good question, excuse me. Not COVID. Can existing workers include those employed for over 12 months?
Yes, so yes, your existing workers have been with you for
20 years.
20 years. So and there's different great stories as well. So we'll talk about the training and things like that. But for having been with you for a long time. So meet Wendy on the photo there. Wendy used to be at Richmond Valley Council. So her student number with us was for 2009, so that's going back a lot of years now. And so with that, she's used her first qualifications, and she's she's been around the country. She's moved around, she's moved different levels of promotions and everything, and she's come back to us in the last 12 months and done some more advanced courses with us. But Richmond Valley Council, who were her original employer, are still new employees, and I've got forms here, and I'm still working with Richmond Valley Council since way back past 2009. We've got another student coming through this week that was a student with us in 2007.
So he took a while there.
So he's coming back and doing another course with us. He's going to be a new worker. He's with a new company, and he's going to be a new worker doing one of our diploma courses.
So actually we have got a bunch of other questions, so let's talk about how the courses work quickly, and then we'll come back and answer the rest of the questions. Yeah,
so people have got long memories how good it is, because they've sorted us back out to come again. So it's a one-on-one training program. There's no workshops. You do not have to leave the employment to go off to like a apprenticeship sort of block college or anything.
Because if you're an employer right now, you've either got nothing going on or you're really busy.
Yeah.
And if you're really busy, you can't be sending people off to college and things.
No, absolutely.
So they don't have to?
No, they don't have to. So it's all designed to fitting in for today. So each of your employees will have a set training time with us. So we're on Tuesday today, so it could be Tuesday at 12 o'clock. Every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, they'll have a training session with either their trainer or their completion coach.
You mean face-to-face training session?
Okay, it's going to be over the phone. We've been using over the phone for ever since we started. Because people like Wendy keep traveling around and picking up jobs in different states. So the trainers catch them up with them over the phone. Everything's available to them online. There's no exams, no essays. It's all very practically based on the employer's projects and their systems and policies and implementing things.
Okay. And So the course is spread out over the year as well for good reason, isn't it?
Yes, because your wage subsidy will go over the 12 months. We've set the courses up for 12 months, unless particularly you're wanting to do the progression.
And you actually don't want them to finish too quickly because the wage subsidy finishes when the course finishes.
Yeah, so they'll be slowly working on different things, but it fits in really well. Now, if you've got people in different remote places and different things, then our trainers can Zoom in and catch up with them over in different things. So if you've got larger groups and want to run a group of 20 plus employees, so one of the bigger councils or some of the national companies or anything, we are very happy to still be running workshops.
And they don't have to be all in one location, do they?
No. So these things, because with the modern technology, we beam our trainers in. It's still interactive. People are still doing activities and everything there, or they're still working on their assessments. And you can be in different locations. We use breakout rooms, but to explain all of that
sounds hard to imagine.
We've actually made a video to actually show employers how this can work and how it does work. And the video that we've done is actually called Making Change Stick. So it's how do you make change stick into your organisation? So it's educational as well. It's quite fun to work, but you'll be able to see that, this actually can
you
still
have
work.
A bunch of people dotted around the country and a trainer somewhere else, and the video will show you how it will work.
Yes, yeah, and we have been in. If you've got people in lockdown and everything at the moment, we've been working with construction companies to fast track and been putting more training time into their people while they've had to have them off while they've got time spent. So a lot of employers are doing that with us at the moment.
Okay, so just before we come back to the questions and just before we wrap up, talk about the risk-free guarantee, because if I'm an employer, I don't want to sign someone and then get stuck paying course fees and find out I can't get a wage subsidy.
No, I wouldn't either. Believe me, I'm the employer. Okay, so no. What happens is in the process of working through with companies, you find who's interested, you get the company approval so that you get your purchase orders done and everything. Just get all of that ticked off. You send that in, but we don't do anything with it because we don't do anything until we get your approval forms. So you then go off and have your meetings with the apprenticeship centre mob. The owner, somebody has to be there from the company, but I as the owner don't go to my apprenticeship meetings. I have one of the other team members sort of go and sit in on those. But then when we get these, we then send out the enrolment forms after this. And then once we've got your enrolment forms in, we have a payment plan scenario, and we will then, if you've got to pay, and because it's been approved and everything at this meeting, and so then we would then invoice after that. So there is no risk because you're not paying me anything until you know that your people have been approved and you're going to get the wage subsidy.
And in fact, you said about payment plans, so you're paying a small amount once you have approval, and then the balance when you get your first payment.
Well, yeah, basically, yeah. So we've made it, we have designed it to fit in with the program.
Yeah, we want to make life easier, not harder.
Oh, absolutely, totally, yeah. I'm a New South Wales business, believe me, I know. So we really designed this to be working well for the employers and the employees. So I'm not here to stuff it up, because otherwise I've got people like Wendy and the other guys that are coming back who have been years and years that have been with us.
So here's a really good question from Sharon. I'm taking over a business. There are existing employees, but there'll be new employees for me. Will they qualify? It's going to depend on the structure.
Okay, that will depend on, you would need to talk to your accountant on that one.
Yeah, because my understanding would be that if you're starting a new company if you're not buying the company, if you're just buying the business, it's an accountant question. But if they are working for a new entity, then they're new employees. And I've seen people get approved on that, no problem. So if you're taking over like a proprietary limited company, then there are still existing workers, probably. But it depends. And if you want to message us, actually, who was that? That was Sharon. If you want to message us with your scenario, we can give you some information to give to your accountant or apprenticeship centre, because probably you can if you get the structure right that you take her over. So you've got an opportunity now to set up the structure in a way. Now there are some rules that say you're not allowed to manipulate things to get this, obviously. But if you are genuinely setting up a new structure, then and it's a genuine claim, that should be fine.
Right, yeah.
That was
So if not, I have a great accountant. Like if you need a good accountant, I kind of got everything. Yeah. So if you need IR, I'll send you someone. If you need an accountant, I'll send you someone. If you need this,
Sharon's laughing. She is the accountant.
she is the accountant. Well, we'll all send them to Sharon.
So yes, if it's a new proprietary limited, Sharon, that should be fine. So yeah, message us after this, and we'll make sure we send it to you. Oh, that's cool. That's a good opportunity.
Yeah. So my hat today I'm wearing is definitely the owner of the training company.
Yeah, not the accountant.
It's not the accountant. That yeah. So we're here to work with our students to provide them with their, advance their careers. They are so happy. They just love keeping, and they just want to keep coming back because we do. So we work with people like that have got started with us in Cert 4s, and then they'll do a diploma, they'll do their advanced diplomas, then they can go straight into uni, skip 3 years of uni and do their entry into their MBA programs, or 3rd and final year of Bachelor of Applied Management. So that can be really, and within the business can be really career progressing your management team and training them.
And actually that reminds me, like Sharon, if she's taking over, if you're taking over an accounting business, Sharon, accountants, can they do this course?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can put them on a business diploma or a leadership diploma or something?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that they've already got an accounting qualification?
Should know. HR, yeah, so you can look at each of those roles. The accountants have to do some good project management nowadays as well. So yeah, so no, there is definitely some.
Okay, now we've got a question from Susan. I might get you to clarify it, Susan. It's how much for existing employees in New South Wales? Now I'm going to read it on the basis that you mean how much of a wage subsidy do you get?
Yeah, and then also the course.
And then the courses. So do you want to answer both versions of that?
Okay, so the wage subsidy is the same all around the country. So it's because it's paid by a federal government. So thank you, Commonwealth Government. it is up to $7,000 per quarter at half your wage per person. So if your person has, so again, it's put those little wage slips in, and if you've earned more than 14, if you've paid out more than 14,000 over the quarter for that person, it's capped at 7. The most they'll give you back is 7. If you've paid under the 14, they'll give you half of it up to that 7. Okay, so that is run by the Commonwealth Government.
And that's all over the country.
And that's all over the country. For your new workers in New South Wales, they will be free. If you have got existing workers in New South Wales, then you will pay the course fee. For your
and that will be
workers.
How much?
Okay, between the 5,000. So the Cert 4 in civil construction supervision is 6.3. The other ones are 4.5 or 5.5, somewhere around that.
So it depends on the course.
It depends on the course.
And can they still get like an over 45 subsidy on that course?
Not real. Probably not. I'm not promoting.
Right.
It's very much complicated, and we're leaving that for people that are actually over 45 in the other states that actually, and needing to upskill.
Okay. So yeah, worst case, you pay a few $1,000s and you'll get 28.
Yeah, you're still going to get 22.
Okay, we might have answered this, Michelle, already, but I'm not sure what time it came in. What about casual employees?
Okay, your casual employees are classed as casual. They're not permanent, part-time or full-time, so they aren't accessible into this program for the wage subsidy. If they are in New South Wales, chat to me about some of the other potential funding arrangements for things, but no, they won't be for the wage subsidy. But again, I would recommend you chat to IR people, specialists, to see whether your casuals are actually really casual or whether or not they would actually be classed as part-time.
In New South Wales, you've got 12 months where you can turn them into part-time and they're still eligible. Yeah. So there's some little details in that. Message us and we'll make sure, because you might be eligible for the wage subsidy but not the free course, for example. There's different combinations of funding.
Yeah, so basically in our checklist, we have covered most of those areas, but if not, you can confirm.
Okay, now here's a really good question, and one that we are becoming an expert on. What factors could contribute to an existing employee not getting approval?
Okay, so one of those factors is you've got to have a supervisor, and the supervisor actually has to physically see them sometimes. So we had one the other day where they wanted to put the supervisor from Tasmania, and the person was going to be in New South Wales and never seeing the person.
And they wouldn't let it go through.
And they wouldn't let that one go through.
Now, lockdown is a different story, that's obviously, but so you do have to be able to eyeball the person that you
occasionally, sometimes, and talk to us about a plan of how you can make that happen.
And what about for existing workers? The other rejections that we've seen are around the job roles, occupational outcomes. Do you want to just try and simply explain that? Yeah,
okay. So in our courses, we went through that there was safety, environmental and civil construction. So those that are very simply, if you're clearly involved in those sorts of roles or those industries,
no problem.
No problems. They're coming through all the time. getting those ones through. The others, you have to look at your job roles as to how it can fit into those job roles.
So there's a list of job roles for each qualification.
Yeah, and we can send a list of those job roles.
So if you are a beauty therapist, you're not going to get approved for civil construction.
No.
Right. If you are in a job that genuinely has some overlap with those skills, that's the main rejections that we've seen, isn't it? It's people who are in an unrelated job. Yes. Trying to do the course that's hasn't got any relationship to their role.
Yeah, so for those employees, in Western Australia, you've got to be doing the job for I think 70% of the time. Yeah. Or something or other, but yeah, just chat to us about those.
Each state's got different rules.
Yeah, so what we really recommend for the employers to do is, number one, look at your new workers. Go back and think, have I put on anyone in the last 90 days, and get those ones through. Yeah. And then you'll go, oh, okay, this works. And yeah,
those are the most straightforward ones.
Yeah, they're straightforward, they're simple. We can get them on really quickly, and you'll get to know us as a company. You'll get that much more confidence. You'll get to know your ass and things like that. And then we're coming back to look at the existing workers.
Yeah, because there's no time limit on those anyway.
No, except
until March.
Till March.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Sam. This is a good one. I am based in New South Wales, but I have a part-time worker in Queensland. Are they able to be covered by New South Wales or Queensland? So there's a couple of things in there, isn't there? First one is the supervision issue.
Yes.
So do you want to explain that just again in this situation? If your worker is the only worker in Queensland,
you can have a contractor that looks
supervises
them.
Yeah. So first thing you have to solve is who is supervising them.
Yes, and we will give you the New South Wales, the Queensland rules are on the sheet. So just get our checklist and go through those ones. We can help you go through that.
Now, if they're working in in Queensland, but their employers in New South Wales, do they get a free course or do they have to pay?
You've got to, okay, in New South Wales, you have to provide a residential or a working.
They have to be either living or working
in New South Wales company. So we have, because I have offices in both New South Wales and Queensland, and I've definitely, I'm in my Queensland office, and I have got people in our New South Wales office on this program, and I've got people from our Queensland office on the program. So it definitely can work interstate. You've just got to check which way and have a chat with us. But on the checklist, we've got each state, where you can find the rules, who you can check out with, and everything extra.
So she says, I go to Queensland every quarter and we have daily contact. That one might be a bit tricky because Queensland state government's got their own special rule that you have to be able to have your eyeballs on the trainee in Queens. If they become a Queensland trainee, right, that could be tricky.
Okay, but, so again, just check we've got it on the sheet of paper.
Yeah, we can dig into it for you. Yeah. Queensland's got a rule that you have to go to eyeball them all the time because unfortunately Queensland killed a couple of young apprentices, and so now because this is administered under the apprenticeship system, they don't want them off wiring up stuff by themselves, which of course is not how this works.
So yeah, it's supervision's plan. Again, yes, we're seeing these forms come in all the time. So just talk to us along the way and we'll help you where we can.
So to clarify the course cost for existing workers in New South Wales, can we send them a price list?
Absolutely, yeah. In the course, the kit, the very first thing it says is, hi, here it is. This is what you need for the employer. Everything has got the course cost beside it. If you're New South Wales new worker, it says free. If not, it's got the course cost, and it's got the payment guarantees, it's your risk-free guarantees, it's got refund policy straight on it, and it's got and you click the button to download the flyer.
All right, so we'll send that out.
So we've made it as simple as we can. Follow the checklist, talk to us, work it through. We'll give you the own person to work with you to help you get just to your organisation. Okay, so to wrap up, if anyone's got any last minute questions, chuck them in. There's a few in the Q&A actually, so I'll just check that. But what do people need to do? Okay, so if you're interested, yes, we're very happy to work with you. Just give us an email over at Wage Subsidy at globaltraining.edu.au, and we'll give you the checklist so that you can work through. Most companies appoint a coordinator who's just going to work with you, and we give you an account manager, so the two of you get together and chat away. I'm happy to, if you've got other decision makers, to jump on a call and talk to them as well. So I know I've got a couple of them booked for tomorrow. If not, we will give you the recording of the webinar, and that you can then show other decision makers and things that need the education as well. We have flyers and things that you'll get in your kit that'll show you what to do. And your kit is, we've got a nice little kit we'll email to you that has got the checklist in it, and just follow those checklists and talk to your account manager here.
And
Yeah,
I
that's
just missed a handful of questions in the Q&A. Sorry,
Oh,
guys,
okay.
I'll just quickly do those. They're quite good questions, so it's probably worth sticking around for them. Certificate 3 courses approved for new employees too. Your slide only listed Certificate 4 or diploma.
Okay, so yeah, Certificate 3 are those traditional sort of trade. Our organisation doesn't do them. So again, if you're interested in a traditional trade, then your apprenticeship centre will know who offers those courses.
Yeah, so some Certificate 3s are approved. We don't offer them, but you can get them.
Yeah, you can get them. And my company does career advancement. So we start with people, you know, from the Certificate 4 level all the way through, and then and allow them to go through to university. Okay. That's where we specialise.
Right. What are some examples of jobs that would fall under the environmental services course? We work with recycling plants. That was Alexandra. That would sound environmental to me.
That sounds very environmental. So yeah.
In fact, I think that's even on the list of approved occupations, or something about recycling rubbish, something. Yeah, so I would think
I would be definitely fighting for those ones. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so yeah, talk to us, Alexander. We can probably organise something on that one. If you pay for a course, so if you have to pay, do you receive incentives back from the government?
Okay, so often yes, still.
So and the state government will often give $4,000 depending on the course, and
some of them, yeah, or they may give a completion and things. But so again, it will depend on the course and things like that. But your wage subsidy, there's kind of the wage subsidy, and then there's the other. But with the up to 28,000, so still keeping 22,000.
Yeah. So worst case, you're going to get 28,000 incentive, but there's probably other bits as well.
Yeah.
And actually that relates to Renee's question. Is there any further subsidy for Indigenous employees?
Okay, not in
the wage subsidy, but the state government traineeship, there's funding, isn't there?
Well, for the new workers, you can't.
Oh yeah, for new workers.
For the new workers. If you weren't looking at the wage subsidy and you were in New South Wales, just normally, but so if you don't want wages and don't want traineeships, then yes, the Indigenous are free there, but there isn't an extra here. And this one, if you're looking at a wage,
there's probably though, like I know in Queensland,
there may be,
you get an extra 10,000 if you put on an Indigenous worker on a traineeship. So there's probably other buckets as well. That
there could be, but they aren't my simple ones that I do every day. Yeah, but I definitely do have some fantastic students, and so there
will be something probably.
That are from the Indigenous communities and different things.
Okay, last question, unless anyone's going to throw another one in. What would be the downtime off the job to participate in training in a working week? All
right, so during your working week, you've got to give them. So that with us, you've probably got an hour a week, and you've probably up to. But it's about 3 to 4 hours over, so 8 to 10 hours over. It usually gets done the whole unit over the month. The month.
Okay, so and that's not living. And when you say that, actually, a lot of that stuff is actually in the workplace. Doing
it's all it's all stuff about from your worker working on their projects and everything extra. It's just more time to collate stuff together.
Okay, so I think we've covered all the questions. Thank you, everybody. That was a lot of questions, but
they were great.
So from here, shoot us an email. We'll send you out a copy of this anyway.
Yes.
But shoot us an email, and if you want checklists, price lists, course lists, any of that stuff, so you don't have to watch the whole presentation today.
No, look, we are really, really happy just to work with you and make this a success for you and your employees. So yes, it's real. Yes, it's great. It's good value for the employers, the government, and yourself. So if you're eligible, access it. Max will do it, and we'll help you get through the checklist and work it through. Because your employees will thank you.
And it's nice to bring some good news for a change.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if we are clashing with the press conferences, now you can all go and watch press conferences and find out what's going on in the world. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everybody. That's all right. Thanks, Melanie.